The last Useless Facts video went very well, but some people did not really understand why I chose exactly 94 facts, which confuses me. But here we are once again with another 50 useless facts in Fear and Hunger! We all know if you break both the legs of an opponent, they are gonna crawl. But what happens if you break only one leg? Do they lose speed? And the result, it actually seems that they do lose speed. Also, where the hell are you going, bro? What? What? Okay, so they lose speed, but their AI also becomes broken suddenly? Bro, notice me, please! Finally! You may know if you equip the guard outfit, the guards do not attack you. What you may not know is that even the ballista guard will not shoot you with the ballista if you have the guard outfit equipped. Which is like the most situational thing ever, and that's why it's on the list. The Greater Blight causes panophobia, of course, because it's fear of everything, teratophobia, fear of monsters, and... erotophobia? Oh, I mean, for sure, that's intimidating on that aspect, yeah. There can only be up to 3 bear traps positioned in a single map at the same time, and if you leave the zone, they are all gonna disappear. If you use the passages of Mahabre while in the dream section of the Tower of the Endless, you will bring rain to Mahabre, and this is a reference to a real-life phenomenon. Caves can have their own weather system, and I'm just joking, it's just an oversight from the developer. You may know the fantastic soundtrack called Pulse and Anxiety. What you may not know is that in the game files there is another version of this song, identical but with a different name, called Horns and Anxiety. I don't know why horns, but I guess you can have your theories in the comments. Imagine you are going around the dungeon and suddenly, oh no, I accidentally used the bone so-and-so off both my arms. What am I gonna do? Even if you don't have arms, no worries, you can still equip rings. I guess you put them on your toes. If you play the game in Dungeon Knights, you won't have a phobia. In the space where there should be a phobia, there is literally nothing. The Assassin Spectre takes 0 damage from all elements except otherworldly damage. You know what's the problem? You don't really need to write otherworldly times 100% because it is automatically like that if you don't write it, making this simply redundant and useless. You remember the acid attack, the one done by the Scarab, the one which melts your weapon? Are you ready to have your mind blown? The acid attack is able to melt all the weapons in the game except Bluesin and Cursed Bluesin. In the Deeper Thicket, you may be familiar with the Greater Mumbler which walks on the other side of the wall. What you may not know is that if you are fast enough and immediately start moving after you see him, you will collide with him and will have to wait for him to finish the animation before being able to continue into the Deeper Thicket. It may be difficult to understand it from the video, but when I stop, it's when I collided with him. Valtail only has a total of 8 different questions. I mean, he has a brain of the same size of the rock, but only proposes you 8 questions. What the hell are you keeping inside of that brain? Oh wait, in the game's data files, Sir Seymour is called Sir Gregor, which I think is a reference to a character from Game of Thrones, but I've never watched it, so I don't know. And apparently, of this I have no confirmation, this was actually the real name he had in the first version of the demo. And Bachman was called Draco Horn Bachman. Guys, I need to play this version if it exists. Please, if you still have the first version of the demo of Fear and Hunger, please send it to me on Discord. I do not want this masterpiece to become a lost media. The flesh body of Spectre Knight and the body of the human Hydra are actually part of the background of the battle, and I think this was done to be able to see them in the battle without being able to target them in the battle. I'm not an expert of RPG Maker, but I think there are other ways to do that. The Skin Granny mask is gonna be slightly different depending from the character she used the face rip on. I am gonna very quickly scroll through all the different masks so you can see it by yourself. In particular, of course, the hair are gonna be different. I love how much detail was put into a body part like this, which literally doesn't even do anything during the battle, it's just a mask. Even if all the sprites in the game appear to be of the same height, the developer gave us his own headcanon about their real height. Basically, this is the order he came up with. To be fair, I expected Ragnavaldr to be something like 2 meters, instead we are basically the same. If you don't have any equipped weapons, you can still use Enguard. Yes, you can Enguard with your bare hands. But for Apollo, this seems actually useful. Why is it useless? Because if you lose your arms, you cannot Enguard anymore, so why would you want to Enguard without a weapon equipped? Like, you can just equip a weapon and so you have a weapon during the battle. Whatever. Do you remember that Book of the Forgotten Memories teaches you a skill from your skill tree? Well, that's not exactly true, because Ragnavalder is able to learn Bloodlust from it, and Bloodlust is not present on his skill tree. Why is this useless? Bloodlust. The second Scarab, which appears in some Scarab battles, is still able to use Acid, which is gonna melt your weapon as well. If you look very closely at the Butterfly battle sprite, you can see the foot has been slightly misplaced. You are, in fact, actually able to see the broken version of the foot behind it. Oh yeah, let me clarify. Basically, the way in which the majority of the opponents works is that behind the actual normal opponent there is the broken body part, so when you destroy it, you see the broken part, okay? As you may know, after you get the Passages of Mahabre, you cannot find that book anymore on any bookshelf, except if you got it from an empty scroll. If you get the Passages of Mahabre from an empty scroll, you can still find it in the bookshelves. While the Assassin Spectre is following you around in the dungeon and you are guarding, you cannot face him. But wait, Frapollo, this actually seems useful. In this way you can avoid fighting the Assassin Spectre until you are ready. Listen, let's be real. If you are being followed by the Assassin Spectre, it means you have the Eastern Sword. You are already ready to kill it. You may know Moonless cannot smoke from the pipe and will be confused when you try to do it. But you know what happens when you do the same with Baby Demon? You get a game over. Nah, okay, I'm just messing with you again. Okay, the Baby Demon will just be confused too. But actually, if you do the same with the Skeleton, they will smoke the pipe and consume the used item, but they will not get any mind restoration because, and I quote, they are without lungs. Even if you move after getting the blue scene, if you use the Passages of Mahabre, you will be always teleported to the same place. I think this was done to prevent you from spawning on places in which the cave collapsed and so being stuck forever. Only the four main characters, the girl and Legard, will get panphobia when reaching zero mind. Everyone else basically doesn't care. I mean, I have no problem believing that a new god like Najra is not scared of a spider. The Pinecone Pig does not have to be equipped on a character in the actual party to be able to function. What does this mean? You can leave someone behind and you will still be able to have a chance to trigger it when you enter into a battle. Thank you so much for the help, Dars. Oh. Oops, I forgot to give her some alcohol. In Dungeon Knights mode, the item pool available from the crates is much different from the one in the normal modes. From what I was able to see, you're able to get a lot of equipment pieces very easily. All the manebas in the basement are placed in slightly different places in the battle screen. I am gonna scroll rapidly between them once again, and maybe this was done to create variety? I don't know? Multiple troops present in the game files have a backup version, which I presume is used in case the changes to the active one go wrong. But you know what's the problem? They are kinda outdated. For example, the Kahara backup does not have the Steel event in battle, while, I don't know, Enki backup is, wow. Near the exit from the old passage, there is a bookshelf which tells you cannot analyze it properly because there are some potions in front of it. But you may be wondering why we're looking at the text from here and not from the game. Well, the reason is disturbing. Or poetic, we may say. You see, you cannot read this message in the game, you cannot reach the bookshelf and cannot interact with it, and I find pretty funny that the message, which is supposed to tell you cannot analyze the bookshelf, cannot be analyzed! When you use Bloodlust, you will have a brain flower on you. For some reason. In a particular layout of the mines, there is a crate which does nothing. Like, not even a message which tells you it's empty or something. No. Nothing. It's useless. Cursed weapons don't have any differences in their flavor text, except for two particular weapons. The Meat Cleaver has a typo, which is fixed in the Cursed Meat Cleaver version. But in the Cursed Short Sword, there is an entire phrase completely removed. Does that mean that the Cursed Short Sword is not anymore easy to handle? As you may know, after the White Angel follows you, if you go into certain zones, he will teleport to your location. What you may not know is that these teleporters are only gonna work one single time. time. Yeah, if you spend like 1 minute going around the back alleys, he will not teleport anymore. But he will still wait for you at the exit, no worries. A precise corpse in the courtyard will always have 5 silver coins stuck in his flesh. Huh, stuck in his flesh. I guess be careful next time you try to steal from some naked creatures, you may be lucky and find something useful. Also, yeah, I know this is not completely useless, but I wanted to find a video in which I could say this. The next point is... The next point is so stupid. So, the door in the prison is locked from the other side. What does that mean? If you go on the other side, you can open it. Okay, Mahabre doors are locked, but if you go on the other side, you can still open them with no problems without having to use any key or lockpicking. Okay? Then I have one single question. Why the hell? The door in the basement and the door in one layout of the mines are gonna be locked even if you go all the way around to open them from the other side. Whatever, you know what, they're just wooden doors, just destroy them, I don't care. You can blind the first, the second and the third phase of the God of Fear and Hunger and it is useless because all of her attacks are certain hit, so they don't check accuracy. And that's not even the only one, like, you can blind Francois, but the same thing happens. And you can blind the Skin Granny torso for some reason, but it's useless even here. And then there are Old Guardian, Nameless Guardian, the Black Witch even... You know what, let's go to the next point. When you finish the dream and walk past here, a Harvestman will spawn, and you may already know this. What you may not know is that in the present, 2 Scarabs are gonna spawn. And since we're talking about Scarabs, did you know that Scarabs, depending from the zone in which they are, if pacified with Mastery over Insects, have different dialogues in the overworld? When the mines collapse, you will be able to see your character stuck under the rock. But if you are the Marriage or the Abominable Marriage, you won't really see anything. You managed to survive. What do you mean? Where am I? If you are missing some limbs and have the Terror Tour Game Over cutscene, you will still miss the limbs in the cutscene, but Terror Tour will still try to cut off all the body parts you have. And this clearly shows you that Terror Tour just enjoys torturing people and feel despair in their eyes until the last glimpse of hope disappears. Or it's just an oversight from the developer. If you use the Passages of Mahabre in the Passages of Mahabre, you will be teleported back once they end to the Passages of Mahabre. What does this mean? That we are stuck here forever. And fun fact, it will periodically be triggered, like periodically you will be teleported once again to the passages with no way to escape. Except some bugs, I guess. The baby demon, the one you create with the Demon Seed, does not have a sprite in the overworld, but it still counts as an entity. It is physical. This means an opponent can collide with him to start a battle. Iron Shakespeare does not trigger Panphobia, and even Darcy and Valtail. In Dungeon Knights, in the Date in the Tomb, there is a lone crow eating, and there is also a room with... oh, whoa, you can walk through that? Ah, interesting. Anyways, there is a room with a note that says, do not touch anything. What? Who the hell lives here? Crow Mauler? And the crow is a hint? Huh, I guess I know what to talk about in the next theory video. Do you know, in the Deeper Thicket or in the Ancient Grand Library when you hear... Ding! If you kill the Greater Mumbler in that zone, the Dean will permanently stop. Which makes sense because they were the one making the Dean. They kinda remind me of the Demon Soul opponent which does Dean. The Yellow King will still try to summon Asterisks, even if he already reached the max amount possible, making his battle even more of a joke. Some of the attacks made by the opponents are able to crit, such as for example the Isaiah attack called Attack, but even if it's able to crit, Isaiah has a 0% crit chance. What does this mean? That he will never crit, making this fact useless. The lucky coin displayed in the bottom left corner can go all the way up to 99. And for the last one, let's go back for a second to the character I despise the most. In Dungeon Knights, Ragnvalder, when saying hello to you, will say Hur Mar Du. Pardon my pronunciation. Which is Swedish for how are you, confirming that Ragnvalder is Swedish. And I guess that's another 50 useless facts from today. So, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you want other episodes, because I think at this point it's gonna start to become kinda difficult to find more, but I will still do my best. So, from today that's it. I was Frapollo94, and I will see you next time.